With Tesla's Cybertruck now released and deliveries beginning, we now know much more about the pricing, the range, the accessories, and the performance. Today, we're going to watch a video from Sandy Munro of Munro & Associates to find out if the Cybertruck will truly be a big winner or not. Sandy's famous for tearing down hundreds of cars, and he knows the technology, the parts, the cost of goods. He was even invited for a very exclusive sit-down with Tesla executives prior to the event. If anybody's going to know, he would know that. We've got Larry Goldberg joining us. He's a serial entrepreneur, long-term investor in Tesla, and he was physically there at the factory. He actually met with Franz. We're going to show a video of Franz attending the video, but we're also going to watch Sandy Munro. So, Larry, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with Sandy Munro. So obviously he's a big deal. He's the one that knows most about the trucks and the cars. He's been giving tremendous advice, not only to Tesla, but the Chinese manufacturers, the American ones, and all of them. So here's him. They released this photo just before the actual Cybertruck delivery event. And here's Sandy Munro in the middle. And he is flanked by the Tesla lieutenants. These are the top executives. This is Franz. You got Drew Baglino. You got Lars. They gave him a special tour. They showed him the truck really well, and they gave him information that he's not allowed to share because he's apparently on an NDA. But let's watch his video of when he was interviewed right after the after party.
Stuff that you can expect from the Cybertruck. I love everything about it. I loved it from the first time I saw it. I only made one small mistake, and that was not putting my name on the reservations. I don't want to get into that, but at the end of the day, this is a fine truck. Tesla is going to just kick so much ass. It's iconic. Think about it. If I say Beetle, what car do you think of? If I say Mini, what car do you think of? This is going to be a car like that. It's an iconic vehicle that's going to continuously be in the public's eye, always.
What do you think about GM, Ford, the big guys? Are they worried tonight? Are they even caring about this tonight?
Okay, so in order of priority from the guys that are probably the most worried to least, I'd say number one on the hit parade is Volkswagen. Holy mackerel. If I've ever made a bad prediction, it was when I said Volkswagen may be the only competitor to Tesla. I was so wrong. I mean, I'm not going to take a flogging or anything, but I will tell you, I was so wrong. It was incredible. I cannot believe how how VW is, I don't know how they're still alive. They've got to reduce, okay, so I hear a lot from different people, and some of the Volkswagen people have told me they've got to get rid of 40% of their production capability, and it's all going to be in Germany, Slovakia, and wherever. Their Chinese companies are the only ones making money. We'll tell you that what I drove today is different than a Lightning, totally different. Because when you're trying to park a Lightning, you're parking a beast, okay? However, if I compare it to the Rivian, I don't see me as a buyer of an off-road vehicle. I don't see me wanting the Rivian. My wife loves it, but I want a Cybertruck. And then we look at, if we look at the F-150, for those who watch my channel, you know that I wound up with a whole bunch of people coming from all over the world to show up in Auburn Hills with no electricity. How in the world did I save that? I plugged in the Lightning, and son of a gun, they just saved me literally $1 million. So it's hard for me to throw rocks at an F-150 Lightning. Now, the good news is that pretty sure I heard this today. I hope I heard this today. But here's the deal. The Cybertruck is bidirectional. So that means that it's got the attributes of the Lightning, so you can you can not just charge, but you can run your household on the Lightning. You can light it on the Lightning, but you can run it on the Cybertruck, and the Cybertruck has got a much bigger battery than what the Lightning does. So as far as I'm concerned, if we're looking at the guys that are going to lose, we're looking at Volkswagen. Down a long ways comes General Motors. A little ways further down is Toyota. They're going to get smaller. And then you've got a whole myriad of folks that are in between. And that would include the Rivian, the Lightning, the Hyundais, the Hondas, the Teslas, the Toyotas. All these guys are making the direction that they should make, that they have to make if they're going to survive in the next 10 years.
Let me pause it there. So he talked about all of the people that's going to fail, and he compared the truck to, I spent a lot of time with the Rivian and others. What's your reaction to that?
I have to say, Sandy yesterday, some people drink liquor to get, or smoke pot to get high. Sandy gets high on vehicles. And man, was he high yesterday. I've never seen him so animated. And he was just animated from the vehicle. I mean, he just loved everything about it. I can't even begin to tell you, for a car lover, what, every aspect of this vehicle has. But I think what you get from what he said, and it's what I have said earlier about the Cybertruck, it is in a class of its own. You can't compare it to the F-150, you can't compare it to the F-350, you can't compare it to anything else on the road. Now, it will not compete from a use case position, comparison to some other trucks that, are commercial trucks and they do a commercial job. So some of the use cases for trucks, the Cybertruck will not fulfill. But it is in a class of its own as a vehicle, and the demand for it is going to be very different and very much higher than the demand for commercial trucks.
Yeah. So listening to Sandy, it sounds like, obviously he loved the Cybertruck from the beginning. He had a very, very, intimate review of it here, right? So he knows a lot more about what's going on. And he came out of that with incredible confidence. And then in that clip, we watched him talk about how the others are in big trouble. The others are all in big trouble. And he didn't even say that anybody's can survive, because he basically said, here's going to die first. He's going to die second, third, fourth. And all these guys are going to struggle and they're going to try to do something. So we'll see. I've got another clip here to explain why he thinks who's going to survive out of this. And he actually explains why he believes that way too. So let's do this.
He said they're really top. Like they've got, I have no, how do I do this without saying fucking? I can't remember how. But anyways, they have no chance of really surviving. And so they will shrink. They'll shrink in size considerably. Now, the question is, who's going to be the biggest car manufacturer on the planet in 5 years? 5 years. And we've been trying to push this technology forever. I'm going to tell you something that it sounds like I'm bragging, but it's not. I will tell you that every time we put out a suggestion on YouTube, we give it to the world. Who is the one who implements it and who sits around picking their nose, giving reasons why they can't do it? Tesla. And in number 2 position, well, there's 2. One is Geely and the other one is BYD. Everything we say, everything when we criticize, every time we come out with an idea like 48 volts, who implemented and who just went, well, I don't think so. Really and truly, we've been doing this since 1960. And so there can't possibly be any technological improvements since 1960.
Oh gosh! So who's going to be the largest car manufacturer in the world in 5 years? It's Tesla, Geely, and BYD, and I think are doing well, and they listen to their suggestions. And then I thought I heard even Elon Musk say it, right? Then, or somebody said that there was a projection that the biggest car manufacturer is going to be Tesla, followed by 9 Chinese. I think it was Elon who said that 9 Chinese manufacturers, and that could be the case. What's
Well,
your
when you
comments
talk
on that?
about when you talk about volume, I think you have to recognize that BYD will probably be the volume leader, possibly Geely. Um, volume manufacturing or manufacturing at very large volume is really it's going to be a Chinese company, and by definition, Tesla will never be able to be a Chinese company. They may get permission to go over the road and expand their factory that was put off 2.5 years ago. I think that things have changed a little bit since in the Xi meeting with Elon and Elon's last trip there. So perhaps they'll get permission to expand the factory a little bit. But right now they're constrained to 1.1 million, 1.2 million vehicles a year at maximum production. And they have the Megapack factory. So I don't think that we'll ever see Tesla reach the volume lead position. But the revenue lead position, there's no doubt about it in my mind that the Tesla will be the largest revenue auto company in the world. And that's partially because they sell for a premium price and they sell a lot. They will be selling a large number of vehicles, but also because they're an energy producer, they're Optimus producer, and those products, as well as FSD, may lead them to a very large number in terms of revenue. They may make them the largest company in the world, but in terms of volume of cars, I think it's going to be BYD.
And so did Sandy Munro. And he has inside information. He talks to them as well. So this is very good news for Tesla. This is Sandy Munro's reaction. He's very excited. Like he said at the beginning, his excitement is from the cars, and he just had the greatest experience going into Tesla, talking to the executives, watching that truck, and he's can't even share a few things. You yourself met with Sandy, and you met with Franz. So this is, Munro Live shared this out that Mr. Woodhouse, Franz, was at the after party. Woodhausen, right?
I mean, Franz is a man of the people. I mean, he came into the VIP room, schmoozed. He had let everybody take photographs with him. I wouldn't say I met with him. I met him because there were 1,000. Well, in the VIP room, there were 100 people. And then that wasn't enough for him. He went out into the crowd, met with, there were thousands of people there, and he just loved it. And, it wasn't as if he was doing anybody a duty. This is not something that the company expects of him, but he just loved meeting people. I heard some people meet him and, press him on their design ideas, and he paid attention and he gave people his phone number. And
he does.
This guy is amazing. He is such a personable, open individual. Hats off to the man.
Let's watch a little clip of him arriving at the after party.
I'm just to the left of the picture here.
Yeah. Oh, you are?
Yeah, I was standing just a few feet further down on the path.
You were? Okay, so you were there. He came out there, he met with everybody, like you said, and he actually answered a 1-minute interview. This is his baby. He created it. He designed it. He had Elon approve it immediately. He said, like, it was as soon as he saw it, it was, we're doing this. And but now it's now here. It's now in production. It's being delivered to customers, and it looks like a beautiful, perfect vehicle. Like, was there anything about it that you thought that was a compromise, or it didn't seem like from anybody? They just feel this is even Elon said the day before, didn't he? He said this is like going to be the greatest product launch in the world this year, bar none. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised to see the beast motor turn up. I mean, the first Cybertruck that arrived that last night was the beast mode truck, and it's amazing. The beast is this tiny little imprint on the back, right, and you can't even see it from more than 5 feet away. But my word, that that one of the first vehicles they produced or delivered. So this was a customer's car that they brought to the event. That's before France arrived, and that car was, I mean, it's just amazing. Yeah, but I will say that the crowd was delighted. I was delighted, and France was very happy with what he had. And he was very happy.
Yeah. I got a question though.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I asked, is this the car you expected or you wanted? Not you expected, that you wanted. He said yes, and more.
For sure. Of course. So the question that I've been debating with folks last night was, is the Cybertruck going to be a cost, high margin, designed for cost reduction? And some people are saying they calculated it and they feel like it's still going to cost a lot of money. They can't see how it's going to be cheaper than the Model X. And I'm like, no, this was designed for cost savings.
Yeah.
And then
It's dramatically cheaper than the Model X. Dramatically.
He's the one that's going to find out, because he's going to tear this down and he's going to know exactly how much it costs to build this thing. But yeah, what was your opinion?
There's no comparison. There's no comparison. This is a dramatically lower cost vehicle than the Model X. I own a Model X. I love my Model X, but there's no comparison. First of all, the 48-volt electric system is a huge leap forward.
That's
The controller method, the controller architecture is a huge leap forward. These are very important components in terms of the cost of manufacture and also the cost of components. The exoskeleton or the partial exoskeleton, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be very expensive in the front end in terms of machining costs and learning to actually manage it. But we know that Tesla, have got this skill, manufacturing skill, that they will revert to first principles and they will solve that with manufacturing. And it's just a physical, it's just manipulating the physical requirements sufficiently well. But in terms of the components and the cost of putting it together, I'm convinced that this is a dramatically simpler machine and that they will bring the cost down to well below the Model X costs.
Yeah, that's what it was designed for. So we'll see from Sandy Munro. Appreciate your comments. Thank you so much, Larry. Follow him at Tesla Larry on X. Appreciate you guys. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.